we received a pretty good presentation about the AFC court, and I'll try to be quick and very specific in terms of what it does and how it works in real life. So the situation in domestic courts in Kazakhstan when it comes to domestic disputes is quite difficult. I mean, it's highly unpredictable environment, and against this general background, the situation is slightly better in administrative courts when you litigate against the state, fiscal disputes, for example, but not much. And against this background, AFC court really stands apart. And what is happening now is we are trying to divert as many disputes as possible to the AFC court and AFC arbitration center. I am very optimistic that AFC court could be exported to entire Central Asian states as a potential gateway for quality dispute resolution. So at AFC court, we normally have 50 to 60 cases per year, more or less. Maybe about 10 to 12 of them are more or less big disputes, but the caseload is increasing every year. We have about 150 cases at the arbitration center. But one important thing that you need to know about the arbitration center, which, for example, really sets apart AFC from the Central Asian other arbitration centers, is that arbitration center at the AFC operates, it is exempted basically from domestic law and domestic courts. So any challenge or any alleged violation of procedure will be reviewed by the AFC court, which is comprised of ex-high court justices. So the survivability of the arbitral award is extremely high. So if you get the award, of course, you will be able to enforce it elsewhere according to the New York Convention. If you get the judgment of the AFC court, my research shows that except for Tajikistan, you can try to enforce it in Central Asian countries based on reciprocity. So we've been able to enforce AFC court judgment in Dubai and Abu Dhabi very recently. We tried to enforce the judgment in Russia. It wasn't successful. Now we are appealing. Some of you probably have heard about this case. It's a Romanuk case that one of the first cases we had at the AFC court. So what the Russian courts basically said is that they said the constitutional statute which created the AIFC court specifies that the AFC court is independent from the judicial system of Kazakhstan, and it does not form part of the judicial system of Kazakhstan. So the meaning of this provision was actually to say that AFC court's judgments will not be supervised by anybody, so it's independent. But Russian court interpreted this provision effectively saying that it's not a Kazakh state court. Because it's not a Kazakh state court, I'm not enforcing it based on bilateral Kazakhstan-Russia treaty. So we're trying to convey the message that, look, it's a Kazakh court in the sense that it's been created by Kazakh law. It's Kazakh, effectively a state-created court, although it doesn't form a part of the judicial system. That's what it wasn't. That meaning wasn't meant. So that thing is pending, but it's hard to tell if it's going to be upheld in higher appellate courts. It's probably slightly politically motivated, because in the previous session, one of my colleagues spoke about Kazakhstan court's response to attempts to enforce Russian judgments issued under Article 248.1 of the Russian Arbitrage Procedure Code. So that might be in response to that. We don't know. We are yet to see. In terms of the AFC court, it has 4 grounds on which it can assume jurisdiction. One of the most popular grounds for the AFC court to review cases is basically contractual agreement. Any party not associated with the AFC, no connection to AFC, can opt in to the jurisdiction of the court. It could be Uzbek party versus Russian party, Uzbek, you name it. So there are also grounds when, for example, AFC registered companies litigate with each other, or if an AFC company litigates with the supervisory body of the AFC, for example, the Financial Service Authority. But there is one ground which hasn't been tested yet, which I'm very keen to test. It refers to operation carried out on the territory of AFC and governed by the laws of AFC. In our view, it might involve civil fraud and tort committed on the territory of AFC. This hasn't been tested yet, we're yet to see, but the territory of AFC is 1,600 hectares of land. So anything which happens on that territory, which has some connection to the AIFC, in my view, could potentially fall in the jurisdiction of the AIFC court, although you don't have a contractual provision. So we're yet to test that. At the AIFC, we had the first ever ex parte freezing injunction. We recently got a non-party debt order, so we were able to recover costs from a party which was controlling the party to litigation, so that was fun. We received a couple of interesting judgments, so the jurisprudence is developing. I wouldn't say it quite copies.
And the first anti-suit.
Yes, yes, you have to mention it. So my client was subject to first anti-suit injunction at the AIFC court because we were pursuing parallel proceedings in the local court. The reason for that is that AIFC is still in its relatively early stage compared to Dubai, compared to DIFC, but it's effectively facing the same problems that DIFC had. For example, they established this tribunal which resolves jurisdictional disputes between domestic courts and DIFC court. So we are now at a stage where I wouldn't say those disputes arise, but we are at the stage of participating in the shaping of the jurisdiction of the court, because some of the disputes, for example, relate to whether or not a matter falls within the court's jurisdiction, and we were arguing that it doesn't. So this is what is happening. I spoke about enforcement in Russia. So one of the important things also about the arbitration center is that all of the awards issued by the AIFC arbitration center exclusively fall within the jurisdiction of the AIFC court in terms of enforcement. So if you want to enforce in Kazakhstan, it will go through an high court judge. It will not go into the local court. So effectively, it creates an exempted regime for you to access the rest of Kazakhstan. I guess I have 45 seconds. Okay. So what it also is doing is two things. AIFC court is effectively changing culture, because whenever we enter into a contract with a highly influential local person, sometimes we include an AIFC provision because not every Kazakh influential person likes his dispute to be open to public in an open hearing, and he doesn't want to be cross-examined. So that is a good tool to put pressure on some of the parties. Some of the parties don't like it, so we refer to international arbitration. But anyway, I've received so many requests in the past 5 years as to whether anything could be done about it, and I say no, nothing could be done about it. You just need to prove your case. So, and that is really changing culture locally.